Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why chaos is appealing to the masses. Now, I've been telling you, just in yesterday's episode, we talked about this, how chaos is the result of standards being removed. Today, I'm going to tell you why anybody will be interested in increasing in chaos in a society or in any type of organization, any type of ecosystem. Now, before I get into that, first of all, let me tell everybody I have a daily motivation text message that I send out free of charge every single day to everyone who is in my text community. If you want to receive that text, all you got to do is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every day when I send that text out, you'll be receiving it, guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. The number's down below in the show notes as well. Now, getting more into this topic. All right, I told you again multiple times that when you remove standards in any type of ecosystem, the chaos increases, the entropy increases, because that is a natural scientific law that anything that is not, when there are no regulations, every organism is always moving further, closer and closer to a state of entropy, moving more towards chaos. That's why we have to have guardrails. That's why we have to keep things organized. That's why systems matter. That's why processes matter. That's why organization matters, because if you don't have it, then naturally things go into a state of chaos. Chaos is a natural state. That's why we had to fight against it. It's like gravity is a natural state to pull you down to the ground. You had to have some kind of guardrails like muscles and bones that allow you to stand up straight. Okay, it's the exact same thing. So today I'm going to talk about why ridiculous ideas such as anti-racism, which I've addressed, boys and girls deciding to change their gender day by day as they wish, and the people who are co-signing this, the adults co-signing this, people wanting to throw away documents like the United States Constitution, or they want to discredit anything that's said in the Bible. Why these things are so appealing to so many people? There's a practical reason why people want to do this, and I'm going to explain it here today. Point number one. Topic again today is why chaos is appealing to the masses. Number one, this is a new opportunity. See, in the marketing world, any of you who studies marketing, or any of you who wants to get into marketing, you should understand this concept because it matters a lot for sales. In the marketing world, it's common knowledge that you never want to sell what we call an improvement offer. See, an improvement offer is an offer that requires people to work on things that they already have and just get more disciplined and better at doing them. All right, this is a form of, improvement offers are a form of quantitative change. Improvement offers are boring. They require hard work, dedication, and discipline. All right, that's why they're boring, because they require hard work, dedication, and discipline. And even though those are good traits, right? Hard work, dedication, discipline, most people don't want to do those things. Most people don't want to work hard. They don't want to be dedicated. They don't want to get more focused. They don't want to be disciplined. Even though everybody says they want to do these things, most people don't want to do these things. They talk about them. We call that paying lip service to them, but don't actually do them. Most people are not interested in these. What you want to sell instead, if you want to do good at sales, you shouldn't tell people to be more dedicated, disciplined, and work harder, because most people are not signing up for that. If you want to reach the masses, what you got to offer them is a new opportunity. In other words, you got to offer them a bright, shiny object. That's what a new opportunity is. It's a fresh, new idea, a new way of doing things that moves all the responsibility for their past failures. It takes it off of your consumer and it puts it on somebody else. Or it's not your fault that things didn't work out. It's not your fault that the last 3 diets that you tried didn't work. All you gotta do is take this pill, this brand new pill, and now you're gonna lose that 50 pounds that you failed to lose over the last 10 years because you sit on the couch eating bonbons and watching Netflix. It's not your fault. No, you just didn't have the right program. You didn't have the right pill. Now we're gonna fix it with this new pill. Is that actually true? Of course it's not true. But if you wanna move the masses, the average person, this is the way that you sell them. You tell them that it's not their responsibility, that they have failed up to this point, that they don't need to take ownership at all, that they don't need to have any discipline, they don't have to have any commitment. All they got to do is your bright, shiny new thing, and because it's a bright, shiny object, you can get them hooked on it and get them to go buy it and get their money. And by the time they realize, like, damn, I actually had to do work to make this work, you already got their money and you're already gone, and they are wondering what the hell just happened. All right, that's how new opportunities work. And this is a marketing principle. Anybody in marketing understands this. So any of you who's ever been enticed to buy some bright, shiny object product, and then later on you realize like, man, this wasn't as easy as it sounded in the advertising. All right, they did that on purpose. All right, you got sold by a good marketer. That's what that is. Even though, all right, understand, people will still need to be disciplined and work hard and be focused and consistent to achieve their goals. It's easier to package that as something other than that. Because if you package your product as, all right, look, I'm gonna sell you this product, but you gotta work hard, be focused, consistent, and disciplined to make it work, you ain't gonna make any sales. All right, so any of you who's selling anything based on that, stop doing that, all right, because it ain't working. All right, you're killing yourself. If you actually want to make money from your products, don't tell people that. Don't tell them the truth. Tell them some version of the fairy tale, which is, this is just a magic pill that's just going to work for you. This is a set of magic beans. Just throw them outside like Jack and the Beanstalk, and tomorrow you can climb up to heaven. It's easier to package things that way than it is to tell people that they actually have to do work on the thing that they already have. All right, this is why marketers, including myself, are always coming out with some form of something new, because a bright, shiny object attracts eyes, okay? Bright, shiny object, kids are always attracted to bright, shiny objects, all right? And adults all we are kids who got taller. All right, this is why in sports, for example, you see college athletes transfer from school to school. You see pro athletes moving from team to team every year. Why is this? Because it's easier to go to a new situation, the new opportunity, and hope that that one will be better than it is to work on the situation you already have at hand. All right, this is the reason why divorce rate is so high in America, because it's easier to go to a new opportunity, let me go be single and just play the field, than it is to work on the relationship that you already got. This is the reason why this happens. We treat things so disposably, especially in Western society, because the new opportunity is the thing that is, it's easier to get people to go to a new opportunity than it is to get them to work on the opportunity they already have in hand. All the chaos that we have in society that is slowly growing these days, represented by a removal of standards, all that stuff being preached to death, is a form of a new opportunity. You understand? See, if I say here are the standards and you got to abide by these standards to be successful, there are a lot of people who just don't want to abide by those standards because they are dressed up as hard work. A lot of people don't want to do hard work. So if I come along and say, look, how about we remove the standards? There are no standards, and you could be successful in life, or you can get a new opportunity by doing it this way and not following the standards. There's a whole bunch of people who live at the bottom of the pyramid of life, the low-level performers, who are going to say, well, look, I know I'm not going to do the work to get to the higher level in the pyramid, so I might as well try this new opportunity. What do I have to lose? This is why the charlatans who are selling this removal of standards are actually doing so successfully, because they're selling to the masses who have no other alternatives but to do the work. They don't want to do the work, so how about we remove the standards? Well, hey, why not? That's why this is working. All right, this is a bright, shiny object. This new opportunity idea is one reason why, for example, any of you knows anything about network marketing. If you've ever done it, you ever been pitched it, if you're over 25, you've been pitched network marketing. The reason why it's so popular, even though everybody knows that how few people actually succeed in network marketing, the reason why it's so popular because it's a new opportunity. And they know how to package it and sell it in such a way like, damn, this actually does sound like it will work. I might as well try it. It's a new opportunity. And that's the reason why so many people get filtered through it, turned through network marketing, because the opportunity seems so easy and it's a bright, shiny object. It's the reason why anything that can be marketed as new can be very popular, but eventually it often fizzles out over time. All right, and this applies to damn near every aspect of life. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why chaos is appealing to the masses of people, the 98% who live at the bottom levels of the pyramid of life. Number 2, standards are boring. Standards are boring. Any of you who knows anything about standards, you know that they're boring. You know it's hard to just continually live up to standards. It's the third day showing up even when you don't feel like showing up. Very few people sign up for something like that. In episode 1974, I told you how standards are the enemy of mediocrity. In episode 2097, I told you that standards still matter. And even though I said these things, and I'm a fan of standards, I also admit standards are boring. It is boring to live up to standards. It is hard. It is tedious. It is mundane to live up to a standard. Standards are appealing only to people who have the discipline and consistency to adhere to them. And again, I just told you 98% of people ain't got it. And once people realize that they don't have these attributes, or better yet, they don't want to have these attributes, they would rather abdicate and simply find something new to pay attention to rather than wallow in the shame of the fact that they don't have the discipline to stick to what they're supposed to be doing. This is why people want to throw standards away these days, because standards require people to live up to a certain level of performance, and they got to do it consistently over and over and over again, day after day after day. A lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people don't want to do that work. So if you offer them the new opportunity of, hey, let's just get rid of the standards, let's just get rid of the rules. You don't have to live up. You don't have to live up to this bar. You don't have to perform at this level every day. How about we just throw all the rules away? You just do whatever the hell you want, and we find a way to make that cool and we affirm you for doing that, and we validate you for doing that, and we get mad at anybody who tries to tell us that we should have standards. Who wouldn't sign up for that? Anybody who's at the bottom of the pyramid of life will quickly sign up for that, because what do they have to lose? Nothing. All right, they have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Who wouldn't sign up for that? And again, this is why I say, when I talk about the anti-racism, when I talked about BLM, when I talked about the transgenderism, I talked about the feminism, I talk about anywhere where people are trying to remove standards and relax the standards and lower the bar, which means you're going to lose the winners and you're going to gain a whole bunch of losers. The people who are actually pushing these movements are not stupid people. These are very, very smart people. They understand everything that I'm explaining here today. They won't say it out loud, but they very much understand it. They can teach a master class on it if you got them to talk about it. They understand this because they know exactly what they're doing. They know to move the masses, you have to give them something that they understand on a level on which they think. And that is exactly what they're doing. I'm explaining it to the rest of you so that all of you understand what's going on. So when you see this stuff and you're wondering, why is this happening? It doesn't seem to make sense to you. I'm helping you understand it. I want this to make sense to you because so you understand that the people who are pushing this are not idiots. They are actually very smart people, maybe smarter than you and I, and they know exactly what they're doing. This is just very strategic, what they're doing. They're finding people who don't want to be held to standards because they don't want to live up to them and giving them a new alternative. All right, no matter how ridiculous the new thing may be, it's better than what they had in the past. And that's why people are jumping at this opportunity. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why chaos is so appealing to the masses. Understand that chaos, this is point 3. Chaos provides cover for people to do, say, think, and believe anything they want without consequences and without parameters to keep them in check. This is why chaos is so popular. Chaos is popular because you can just do whatever you want and nothing's going to happen. I mean, think about it. The example that I've always used when I talk about chaos is when you were in elementary or middle school and a substitute teacher walked into the room that one day, you and your classmates started looking around at each other and you knew what it meant. It meant that class was going to be a zoo that day, right? Because the teacher, the normal teacher who represented what? Standards, rules, parameters. You knew what you could do and what you couldn't do, what you could get away with and what you couldn't get away with. When that substitute teacher walks in there, now you know, oh, I can do whatever I want today. There are no rules today. There are no standards today. Tomorrow I'll go right back to following the rules, but today I get to not follow rules and just do whatever I want. All right, that's exactly what you did, right? Of course, any of you growing up as a kid, when your parents weren't home and you were just home with maybe your siblings or they were at a friend's house and their parents weren't home, you knew you could do certain things that you probably wouldn't do when the adults were in the room. All right, we all understand this. This is what happens when there are no standards. You can do, say, think, believe anything that you want. There are no consequences. There are no parameters. Nobody to keep you in check. Nobody to put you in line when you get out of line. There is no line. All right, there's no line to get out of because the lines don't exist anymore. This is why chaos is so popular to people, because it allows them to just do whatever they want to do and say anything can happen. Anything goes, basically, when there are no standards in place. When there is chaos and there are no standards, it doesn't matter if you do something that would have been seen as ridiculous last week, because since their standards have been removed, nobody can tell you that it's ridiculous. Now it must be accepted. See, it would have been ridiculous when I was in college for a male on the men's swim team to decide that he was a female and get on the female swim team and swim the whole season and be winning, and nobody says anything, nobody does anything, and this is just accepted. And as a matter of fact, if someone was to go against it and say, hey, what the hell is going on here, they would be the one who'd be looked at as crazy. They'd be the one who'd be silenced. They'd be the one who'd be kicked out of the facility for saying something. They'd be the one who'd be shut up for they'd be the one who is quote unquote wrong. That would be ridiculous 20 years ago. But today, that's accepted. This is what happens when there's chaos. No standards. Anything that used to be ridiculous is now cool. And anything that used to be cool is now ridiculous. This is what it does. It flips it upside down. So it takes the 99% and it puts them in a position of power that they otherwise couldn't get following the old rules, so they create new rules. We haven't even gotten to the point where where we're not only allowing ridiculousness and chaos to exist, because it's always existed on some level. There's always been some ridiculous, chaotic people, but they usually lived on the fringes of society, right? But now, here's what's happening. Now the ridiculous and chaotic people are badgering and bullying the quote-unquote regular people, the people who abide by standards. Let's call them that. We're not even going to call them normal. We're going to say the people who abide by standards. We're bullying those people into accepting the ridiculousness and the chaos. And as a matter of fact, don't just accept it. You must affirm the ridiculousness and chaos. And if you don't do it, you're doing something wrong. So if a boy decides he's a girl, not only do you have to accept it, you must affirm it by using the alleged girl's pronouns. If you don't, you're committing verbal violence. Not only can a 12-year-old kid decide that they're not a girl anymore, they're a boy, but the parent doesn't even have to know about it, because the teacher is allowed to conceal that information from the parent, and the kid can be, they can be Lisa at home, but they're Larry at school, and the parent doesn't even know what's going on, because there are rules that say the teachers don't even have to tell the parent what's going on. This is the ridiculousness and the chaos that is starting to become more mainstream, at least in some places. This is not gender affirmation. For some of you listening to that, like, Dre, isn't that just gender affirmation? No, that's chaos is what it is. Gender affirmation is chaos. As ridiculousness is a removal of standards is what it is. So you want to call it a removal, you want to call it gender affirmation? No, it's chaos is what it is. All right, this is ridiculousness. This is what happens when standards get removed and you get charlatans running the situation. That's what happens. What chaos does is it allows people who live at the bottom of the pyramid to put themselves in the position of power, or people. It's not one individual, it's a group of people where they can dictate the rules, and anything that they say or do is just allowed, and it just goes. And because you have more people at the bottom of the pyramid than you have at the top, again, they use the power of numbers against the other people. This is what you're seeing happening today. When there's standards, you have accountability. Since most people don't want to have to use discipline, because everybody has discipline within them, they just don't want to use it. So chaos is preferable to them, because it's easier to be chaotic than it is to be disciplined. This is not a new phenomenon, by the way, folks. This is not new. It's just becoming mainstream. That's the thing that's new. What's new is that it's actually working now and is actually getting traction. That's the part that's new. It's not new that there are a bunch of people at the bottom of the pyramid. It's not new that there are people who don't want to have standards. It's not new that there are people who don't want to clear the bar that is set for them. What's new is now they're actually getting traction and people are actually bowing to this bullshit. That's the part that's new. Everything else is old. Point number 4. Today's topic, once again, is why chaos is so appealing to the masses. Number 4, there are many other people who understand this concept at the same level that I understand it. I'm not the only one in the world who understands this. I'm the only one in the world who will say it the way that I'm saying it, as directly as I'm saying it, as clearly as I'm saying it. Everybody else is dancing around the topic for myriad reasons. But I'm not the only one who understands this. What we do need more of is not necessarily more people saying it the way that I'm saying it, but we need more people who are willing to speak about these things publicly and speak about them in no uncertain terms. Again, maybe not necessarily in my language, but in no uncertain terms. It should be no ambiguity as to what exactly you're saying. And that's what I'm finding when I see people who I know are understanding what I'm saying, but the way they say it's so ambiguous. I'm not quite sure that they're really saying what they're saying. I got to read between the lines. You don't have to read between the lines of anything I say, I don't think. The reason why I've carved out the space that I have and talking about the things that I talk about is not because I'm the only one who has thought of them, it's because I'm willing to talk about them out loud and I'm willing to say them clearly. And one of the reasons that I'm able to do that is because I'm not beholden to anyone. All right, nobody can do anything to me. I can't be fired from anywhere because I wasn't hired anywhere. And so I understand there are some people who I talk to privately, and people who I know publicly who say things, but it's kind of like I kind of get what they're saying, but they don't really say it. And people who I talk to privately who I know they're on the same page as what I'm saying, but they can't say it out loud because of their connections and their relationships and no political things. I get it. But we need some people who will actually say these things out loud, because it's just slowly expanding day by day, the chaos, the lack of standards. And understand that you who's listening to this, you got to where you are and you're going to where you're going because you understand the concept of standards. You understand the concept of raising bars and lowering bars, how raising a bar gets rid of losers, lowering a bar gets rid of winners. And for you to get to where you want to get to, standards need to matter, because if they don't matter, then you doing the work that you're doing right. Because if the standards get removed, then you did all that work for what? To not be recognized because the standards got removed? This is what's happening, folks. Am I making this up? If any of you think I'm making this up and I'm wearing a tinfoil hat here talking about the earth is going to end in 60 days, you let me know. All right, if I'm crazy, somebody let me know. If I ever go crazy, I want somebody to tell me. Okay, don't let me walk around in ignorance. I know many people who agree with what I'm saying, but again, they don't say it as clearly and as plainly as I do. But we're going to need more who will, because this is just going to keep expanding until the point that you can't ignore it. With all that said, let's recap today's class, which is why chaos is appealing to the masses. And I've talked about how many ridiculous ideas each of which I have addressed in detail and in full and plainly on this show, that it's just an increase in chaos and a reduction of standards. There's a practical reason for this, and I tell you today. Number one, it's a new opportunity. Anyone in marketing understands if you want to move the masses, you got to offer them a new opportunity. Don't tell them to work hard and be disciplined and focused, even though they will need to do that to be successful. If you try to sell them on that, they won't buy. But you sell them on a brand new, bright, shiny object, they will buy. Number two, standards are boring. They are appealing only to people who want to do the work, who are disciplined and committed and all of that. Most people are not any of that. And that's why they don't want to be held to standards. And this is why when you offer something that requires no standards, you get a whole bunch of people to sign up. Number three, chaos provides cover for people to do, say, think, and believe anything they want with no consequence, no parameters to keep them in check. And this is the reason why chaos sells so well, because the masses of people are looking for exactly that. They don't want to be held to standards. They want the bar to be lowered so that we can get rid of the winners and the losers are more acceptable. When the bar is raised, then the losers get exposed and they look bad. But when you lower the bar, the losers look like winners. All right, this is the ridiculousness that has gotten pressed these days simply because standards are being removed. This is not actually a new phenomenon. What's new is the fact that it's actually working, and this stuff didn't work in the past. And number four, there are many other people who understand this concept at the same level that I understand it, but they don't talk about it the way that I do. Eventually, some of you are going to have to start talking about it, because this is going to start to encroach on your world and your life and your situations, and that's when you're going to wake up. And some of you are awake right now, but you're not awake enough. And when it starts encroaching on your own life, that's when you'll figure out what I'm talking about here, and you'll remember that I said this. With all that said, text me to get my daily motivation straight to your phone every single day. My number is 305-384-6894. And get into my Work on Your Game system, where I show you how to take the 9 parts of the Work on Your Game system, apply it to your business, to your life, to your mindset, to your strategy, your accountability, and your execution, and get it out into the world. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com, where you get into the Work on Your Game system, where you'll be coached directly by me, have access to all of my self-learning material, and we take your game where it needs to go. Work on your game. Dre, all